What is up, y'all? It is another episode of the Mure Mind TMM by your host, Joy Mure. Today's podcast, we'll be talking about subjects such as a moment when I felt that I really betrayed myself, toxicity disguised as women empowerment, how social media allows people to falsely claim having mental illnesses for clout, and rape and sexual assault. Okay, let's just start it off. Let me think. A moment when I feel like I truly betrayed myself. I want to say when I first entered high school, I was terrified. Like most freshmen, I was terrified. I mean, I'd already known most of the upperclassmen because I was practicing with varsity players for football because I was playing football going in. But to say I wasn't a fucking nervous wreck would be a lie. And so I had to kind of snuff out a bit of my creativity and personality of who I truly am in an attempt to fit in. And I did that for the entirety of freshman. I just wanted to fit in, because everyone wants to feel fucking wanted. No one wants to feel like an outcast. Until you realize that there's nothing really wrong with being an outcast. And the truth is, being an outcast just shows that you're unique. You're different. You're not the status quo. You're not a fucking robot. You're not linear, just zeros and ones, zeros and ones. But the entirety of freshman year, I was just acting out. I was being bad. I was getting in trouble a lot because I didn't know how to just be myself. I felt like I had to impress upperclassmen or to the new people that I was meeting in high school. I wanted to have a good impression on them, so I'd get in trouble in class a lot and be a class clown and whatnot, and just do a lot of stupid shit. And just to, anyone that, is just going into any new area in their life, be that a freshman in high school, freshman in college, or just a new chapter in their life. Don't compromise your character to impress a bunch of people who truthfully don't give a fuck about you. Don't do it. It's really not worth it. I mean, you may be in, some of my listeners may be in high school now, just, and you think that the friend group you have is going to last you a lifetime. I'm just going to be blunt with you. You probably are going to really, truly be still friends with maybe one or two of those people. And even those one or two of those people, you will probably end up giving more to them than they will to you. And that's just the type of, person you could be. I know myself, I'm a very giving and probably overly giving person to the people I care about, friendships and relationships, I give my whole soul to the person. Because I just feel like that's what one is supposed to do. But, what I had to learn and I'm still trying to work on is that I can't go into situations expecting me from someone else. And what that means is what I would do for someone, I cannot expect them to do that same thing for me. And it hurts because you're like, damn, I just did all this shit for you. It could be a physical thing. It could be a monetary thing. I've just done so much for this person. And I can't even get half of that back. And that shit starts to fuck with you for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That shit does fuck with you for a little bit. But then you gotta recenter yourself. And you have to realize it's okay to be selfish. You have to. You have to worry about player number one. Because in this world, the only person that has to love you, is required to love you, is you. Your parents don't gotta love you. Your friends don't gotta love you. Your relationship, your partners, they don't have to love you. They can choose to do this, but the only person that has to 110% of the time love you is you. And until you can love yourself, you never will appreciate until you can love yourself, you will never get the respect you deserve from others. Because you don't even respect yourself. And that could be for, a number of reasons. Fucked up childhood, heartbreak, injury. It's a lot of things that could have been from, but the truth is, at a certain point, you gotta just accept shit went left. It's fucked up. Now what am I gonna do next? Am I gonna allow this fucked up shit to dictate how I exist on this plane, we call life, for the next 50 to 70 years? Or am I gonna take charge of my own existence? And I understand, understanding that you can control anything you want, any variable in your life is is terrifying, because then that puts all the responsibility on your life on you. Now, I am a spiritual person, and I know there are people out there that are extremely religious, but at the end of the day, no matter who you pray to, no matter what you believe in, karmic, universe, if you don't put in the work beforehand, if you don't try to improve yourself, nothing is going to work out in your favor. Nothing. Nothing's going to be given to you. Shit don't work like that. It just doesn't. Higher, whatever you believe the higher power is, it's not like just wishing on a star. You can't just be like, hey God, I'm scared, make me not scared anymore. Don't work like that. What will happen though is you'll be given opportunities to show you're not scared. You see, it's still something you're working towards. It's not just something you're given. Because when you earn something, it sticks with you longer. It lingers in your spirit. It's the same. It's the same as the saying: give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. And I know there's a lot of people out there right now, and you're going through some shit, and you probably think, fuck, man, I can't fish, and I don't got a fishing pole. And scoop them up with your hand. At this time, fuck it. Just keep pushing forward and just keep trying to love yourself day by day. I know it's hard. Trust me. To all my haters out there, I want y'all to understand, y'all will never hate me as much as I hate myself at times. You'll never. You couldn't fathom the amount I hate myself at times. But knowing that I hate myself at times doesn't stop me from always loving myself, It's just balance. That's all it is, just balance, yo. Just life. Some people just get a bad hand in life, A fucked up deck. Parents had, drug addiction. You were violated as a kid. You were beaten. You were poor. You had all these variables against you. So I can understand how simple it would be to quit. I can understand it. I get it. It's easy to give up. It's easy as fuck. All you gotta do is stop. That's all you gotta do. If you really want to quit, all you gotta do is just stop. But what's not easy is living with yourself after you quit. It's hard. It's hard that guilt eats you alive when you just think of the what ifs. What if I would have just kept doing this? What if I would have just given it another year, another 5 years? What if? Don't live in doubts and don't live in what ifs. Live in the present. Get through that shit. Anyway, next segment. Toxicity disguised as women empowerment. Okay, so I this is how I feel, right? I feel that women are speaking up for the rights that they definitely deserve, which is no issue. But there's a new, I want to say, new strain of feminism that is kind of growing, and it's like, it's not about equality. It's just about putting men down. In any variable, any situation you can, it's about putting men down. And don't get me wrong, I hate niggas too most of the time. You feel me? Like, I can see why a girl would be like, kill all men. I can understand that. These niggas is weird out here. I get that. But you have to understand, it's like, a lot of these women nowadays, from who they look up to like, I guess how they're just molding their own personalities, they're looking up to, they don't really have the best role models. That's what I will say. There's not really the best role models. Or the ones that would be great role models aren't pushed by social media. That's not at the top of the bracket so that you have all these young girls can look up to her and aspire to be her. That's not the type that they push up. They push up, just different types of negative people to the top. And then that convinces, a young girl's mind that, hey, I want to act like that too. But then they don't understand, like, the lifestyle that person is putting on is a limited one. It's not a long-term, one. And if you really look at most of these people aren't happy. Not really, not truly. They got all this money, all this fame, all this fortune, but they're not genuinely happy on the inside. And one example I can see of that is how women will treat, I guess, actual good men. No, I'm not talking about the fake nice guys that put on the front just to have sex. I'm talking about the men that go out of their way to make sure that, you know, that girl is happy. Even if it at times compromises their own selves. They treat men like that like trash. And I truly believe they do that because they've never been put in a situation where they could actually depend on a man. Never in life. They didn't have, you know, proper male role models growing up. And so anything, it's the same for me. If I get a girl that's too nice, I think some shit's up. I don't trust it. And I will subconsciously fuck shit up for myself because I don't feel like I deserve to be with someone like that. So I want to say deep down, it all kind of starts from a self-esteem thing. Like, girls will pick dudes that are just actively disrespectful to them, toxic, quote unquote, as y'all like to call it, instead of the dudes that actually try to better their lives. And then they want to go fuck with the dudes that try to better their lives after they've been essentially discarded by those bad boys, you know? And I'm not speaking this like I'm not, you know, an ancient ass nigga. I done plenty of girls wrong, you feel me, in my lifetime. And I just look back and I just think like they definitely had opportunities to pick dudes that would have treated them better, and they didn't do that. And it was always just crazy as fuck to me because I'm like, shawty, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you don't, this dude's over here about to get you his arm and his leg, and I barely call you. Like, so what the fuck? But I think also that ties into just like curiosity. I think that's, and familiarity. Most of their dads treated them like that. So when you get like with an ain't shit ass nigga, he treats you like that, it probably reminds him of home, honestly. And that's why it's so hard for them to kind of get out of these toxic cycles of just going over and over to bad dudes, to bad dudes, to bad dudes. Like, for example, I know this one girl, she had told me that all her exes had like physically hit her. And I'd asked her, I was like, did you go back with them? She was like, yeah, every single one. And so in my mind, I'm curious, I'm like, why do you feel like you deserve that? To be over and over, like, abused physically. Why do you feel like you deserve that? And I'm just thinking, like, it's probably a subconscious thing. I think she may have put attention over her own self-respect, no matter how negative that attention may have been. And this is just a message to all the young ladies out there. When a dude shows you who he is the first time, believe him the first time. And you'll really know who a man is in his most angry moments. What he shows there, that's him. It's easy to you put up a front when you're happy. But when he's mad, what he shows you then, what he calls you, how he treats you at that point in time is who he is deep down as a person. Please believe that the first time, ladies. You'd be surprised how many. I just hate seeing stories of women that stay with abusive dudes and to the point where they get killed fucking with these niggas. You know, they didn't get out in time. They just stay with these dudes, these abusive dudes that put their hands on them and just beat them over and over and over and over. And just know it's never. You're not a weak person for seeking help. You're not. I know it may be hard to ask for help. I know. This shit does get hard to ask for help. It sucks. You know, you feel like a fucking loser. You feel like, why can't I should be strong enough to do this by myself, but you got to get out of those situations. And don't let things like quote unquote love be a determining factor as to why you stay with someone. Because someone who truly loves you is not going to beat on you. Ever. That's never something they do. You will never get hit by someone who truly loves you. So you got to start asking yourself, does he love me, or does he just love the fact that I don't leave? And it's okay if it's the latter. But you got to get the fuck up out of there, girl. That shit ain't cool for you. Okay. Next. Social media allowing people to falsely claim. Okay, so this is where I also notice nowadays, y'all, especially on, apps like TikTok and shit like that. People will false claim having certain mental illnesses as a fucking trend because they feel like it gives them a personality. And from someone who suffers fucking daily from that shit, I would give everything to be normal like you guys. Everything. So the fact that you would purposely go on an app and try to portray this, oh my God, I'm so quirky, I have this, I have that, oh my God, I have that. You're not fucking cool for that shit, bro. And I think, and the fucked up thing with social media is like you never really know who has an actual mental illness because it's still a fucking screen. Like unless they're showing like, I guess, doctor-written papers and shit like that, or they're showing them prescribed medicine, you don't really know. And also, a lot of these people may legitimately trick themselves into, like, y'all, the mind is a very, very powerful tool. And if you're telling yourself every single day, I have anxiety, I have depression, you will create that reality for yourself and it won't be an act anymore. That's why certain things like method acting is so dangerous. That's why, great actors like Heath Ledger fell the way they fell, because it's dangerous to get into a certain mindset that's unhealthy, because eventually it's going to start eating away at your body, because your body's going to truly morph yourself into that mindset you think you want. And the shit is not healthy. It's the same reason why when actors go through roles of being, horrible villains, they have to go to therapy afterwards, because to truly, because to us, we look at it, we're like, oh, they gave a great performance. But to truly believe in some shit like that, like to get into the mindset of a killer and a villain, you gotta go to a really dark place in your mind. And we all have that dark place. And there's nothing wrong with dipping in and out of it every now and again, but when you try to live in it, that dark place might become your reality. And so for all the people out there that don't truly have a mental illness or haven't been diagnosed, or just, are kind of doing it because they think it's cool, I promise you're lucky that you don't have anything. The mental agony of those who do suffer mental illness daily it's like living hell. And the worst part is it's usually never physical. Most of us would rather actually have physical pain than the mental trauma we go through on a daily. That's why people get tattoos and shit like that. Because it's easier to focus the pain into one central area than it is to just have your mind running rampant on what the fuck is going on with you. Okay, and for the final segment, we will talk about rape and sexual assault. Let me just say out there right now, if you have ever been sexually assaulted and or raped, it's not your fault. I know there's trends going around and saying, oh, you should have fought harder, you should have did this, why don't you go to the police? Look, from personal experience, I knew this one girl whose father was actually a police officer, and she went to him and he still did nothing. So if that don't show you that our criminal justice system is fucked up, I don't know what will. I'm gonna say this. At some point, you do not have to. You don't never have to forget what happened to you, and you probably will never forget. But for yourself, you have to forgive yourself for being in those situations. You don't have to forgive the fucking perpetrator. They're sick animals. We know that, but you have to stop blaming yourself. And I did this for many years. I because I got molested when I was young, I blamed myself many times. I was like, why? I shouldn't have been wearing this. I shouldn't have been around this type of person. I shouldn't have done that. But you have to understand you were a victim. And they were predators. And predators prey on victims. But that doesn't mean that you're still a victim today. You're a survivor. You've gotten through this shit. You're still here. You listen to this podcast. So it was a fucked up, horrible experience. And the most fucked up thing is, y'all, it usually don't happen from a stranger. That's the fucked up thing. That's why it happens so frequently, because it's from people that you trust and are close to that you wouldn't even bat an eye with. And that's who usually strikes. I've heard many stories of girls at parties with their guy best friend, and they get too drunk and they wake up and their clothes are off and they're bloody. Or young boys hanging with older women and they get groomed into something that they weren't ready for, and then now that's just a part of their life. And I just want you to understand that it's okay to take time to heal, but eventually you need to heal for you, not for anyone else but you. It can be an almost polarizing feeling, in a sense of just pure fear, to just understand that really happened. And another thing, people, you have to understand, if that did happen to you, it happened to you. For many years I suppressed it with memory. I was like, nah, that didn't really happen. I just am not remembering things right. But if it's a memory that continuously pops up in your head and bits and pieces come up, you could just be mentally blocking it out, because the trauma was so traumatic. The only way you could get through life is to act like it didn't happen. You just cut out a certain chapter in your memory book. And let me tell you now, there is no drug, no drink, and nor body for that's gonna make you truly forget what happened. And it may be from a loved one. And also, there's another thing. You're not weak for, if you still have love for the person that did it to you because they were close to you, they're like a family member or something like that. You're not weak for that. Because they did violate you, but that didn't take away from all the experiences y'all shared. So I can see how it can be confusing, because you're like, I want to hate this person, but I can't hate them. You're not weak for not hating that person. You're not. You're just a survivor. And you just have to get through life as a survivor. And you will get through the shit. Because look at it like this. How long ago did that happen to you? And look where you are now. You may not be in the dream situation where you are, but look where you are now. You're still going every single day. You're still putting up a fight. That's in this life, that's all anyone can truly ask for. Just put up a fight. Fight the good fight. That's it. That's all we truly can do at the end of the day. Just fight the good fucking fight, y'all. You can't let those people that did that to you win. Because if you decide to quit life early, they've won. And that is unacceptable to you, because you deserve more than